it's fine. Let me just check that everything is fine. So I think we should be fine.
Very
Let
good.
me just check my stuff here. I think it should be okay. Da-da-dum. Just loading. Yeah. All right, it started.
Alrighty.
All right.
Very
man.
good. Good morning to the world. Good morning to my new friend Ovi from Romania.
Morning,
This is
Manny.
Manuel Segarra out in Denver, Colorado. So we are truly a global situation here, spanning many time zones and countries. We are here today to talk about business agility and the impacts of AI on business agility. So we're going to be we're going to be having a few questions from both topics. We're also going to be having some general questions as well as some executive level questions here to get a good overall picture as to how we're supposed to be using AI. I wanted to emphasize that AI is not a framework to be installed. AI is something that's supposed to be augmenting humans. We don't see that too much over here in the USA side, so maybe we can get a perspective on how it is over in Romania. So I definitely want to thank you for taking the time to sit down today. You have much more experience in business agility than I do. I've worked more at the operational and tactical level with you being a former business owner and a current business owner and are coaching at that executive level. So you definitely have some context here. So between the two of us, we should be able to provide an overall picture.
Yeah, I'm coaching at multiple levels, right? So executive plus, I'm also down to the teams, like.
You down to the teams?
Yeah, but I
Okay.
work with like multiple layers, senior management, middle managers, teams.
Okay. My wheelhouse is definitely, my expertise is with the teams. So you have a broader range than I do. I leave the executives to people like you. Give me the teams. I'd rather work down there.
It's fine.
Okay.
They are people
Well,
also, man. They are people also.
yes, they are. They are people. They have different perspectives, different forces that they have to
Well,
deal with, different
yeah,
questions as well.
yeah,
You
and
betcha.
it's just different responsibilities, right?
hmm
All right.
Okay. With that,
All
we'll
right,
that is a
so
perfect lead into the first
yeah,
question,
so
sir.
so just to settle on the format, basically, you Manny have prepared a few questions, and you thought would be useful for me to think about them and try to uh, do my best. Let's put it this way, to give eloquent answers. Just as a um, as an FYI, I haven't seen the questions, so they're a surprise for me also. But I think it makes this session more fun. So
Betcha.
otherwise, it would have felt like canned.
Yes, exactly. There's no fake. We're not doing agile theater here either.
Agile theater, and you know that AI was the first, the first to introduce me to the term agile theater. I never heard about it
Okay.
until last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. I know you've not heard the term, but I know you've seen it, right? Teams just going through the
Ah,
motions. Organizations say, "Oh, we're agile because we do stand-ups." Okay. It's definitely a little deeper than that.
yeah. Well, let's put it this way: if people don't have time to learn agile, the same way
hmm
you don't have time to invent recipes.
hmm
So this is how I see this whole thing. The the big thing about, and I know this is not a question, but the big thing about this, I think it's the responsibility of the agile coach to get people enthusiastic about the agile, and it's not the other way around. Like, people have to get enthusiastic about the agile by themselves. I think it's the agile coach that has to role model and get people interested and excited into about agility in general.
Okay, I can
Just a
buy that.
thought. Just a thought.
Over. I'm going to distinguish between what happens in Romania and what happens here, right?
Yeah.
I've never been over there, vice versa. It's been the agile coach was a general term right?
Yeah.
The Scrum Master was supposed to be at all levels of the
To
organization
become,
according to the Scrum Guide,
at
right?
some point, yes.
Mhm. We distinguished Agile coaches as maybe in the middle, tactical and executive
Well,
levels, and Scrum
let
Masters were really
no,
pigeonholed
not
into
really.
operational.
Not really. I distinguish the agile coach as an agnostic agilist. So
Hmm.
basically, um, if you lack, let's say, the discipline to plan to release every sprint, I will definitely uh, help you work with Scrum. But if you already have that discipline, if you're already more into streamlining, etc., I will definitely work with you on Kanban and DevOps. If you need help aligning between teams, I'll figure out whether you would benefit from Scrum of Scrums, Nexus, Scrum at Scale, or Safe, or um, what was it, Spotify, right? So
Hmm.
that's my role, that's my job. It's to figure out what environment and what context you are in, and to work with you on, first of all, establishing your goals, and then figuring out what are the, let's say, frameworks, technical practices, things that you need to do in order to become more customer centric and improve the value that you bring to the organization at the smallest cost possible. So that's the point. So this is what I would say is the difference between a Scrum Master and an Agile coach. So if the Scrum Master is there to implement Scrum,
Hmm.
the Agile coach is there to help you become agile in the sense of business agility.
Gotcha. I
So
understand.
that's for me the distinction.
You mentioned customer centric,
Yeah.
right? It was always supposed to be about the customer. I would like to ask you, give me two or three other
Mm-hmm.
principles that are absolutely non-negotiable when we're talking
Oof.
about business agility. Some things that need to be in place or should be in place.
All right, that's a tough one.
It could
Um,
be it
yeah,
could be subjective, right? The things that you think as opposed to objective.
fair enough. Fair enough. Um, so we started customer centricity, right?
Hmm.
Then I would say being outcome first would be the second thing.
Hmm.
So try to measure everything that you do. Like we have an initiative right now to improve delivery KPIs. So we did some delivery KPIs. I think they started it 3 years ago, like before I was in the current project. But the method doesn't work because it was delegated to some person, and they do some calculations every 3 months, and that's it. So
They call it that.
it's good that we are measuring. It's bad that, right, we are not um, getting everybody on board. But when I started to look at it, I was thinking, okay, why aren't we calculating this automatically? And when we looked at how much management time is spent on actually doing this, it's about 40 man days per quarter. So 160 management man days, which could be
Mhm.
used to other initiatives because everybody in management says they have too much stuff on their plate. Um, that we could definitely save and put towards other things that need to get done in the organization. So become outcome first, I think, is crucial to business
Mhm.
agility. So I don't believe you can have a great vision unless you understand where you are versus where you want to be. So that's how you can help people, become pragmatic about the change or the transformation that you want to do. And the third principle I would say is be um, ruthless about automating everything that you can automate. So this is a DevOps principle which I love. But basically, if you can make these processes that everybody has, right? Even in IT teams, if you can automate them, you can start leveraging the time that you have in the teams that you gain from this automation in teams. You can start leveraging it towards your technical depth, which I think, like, in my experience, everybody has technical depth. They just are not aware of it. Most people are just not aware of it. But
Okay.
let me give you a short definition. If you have anything that's manual, then basically it's probably technical depth, or you can probably categorize it technical depth as technical depth. So
Okay.
yeah, those are the three principles. Let me recap. Customer centricity, outcome first, and automate everything.
Automate everything. Very good. Start small, please. Don't just take
Yeah.
the big bite. Automate everything.
Yeah,
So I wanted to ask you.
just make a list and start with the top one. Easy.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about, as we move into the AI age, right? There's
Yeah.
going to be a bunch of desire to automate, as you were saying, and the innovation part as well. I'm wondering about
Yeah.
how this impacts a traditional leader, right? You were measuring things before about measuring tasks and measuring people, but now it's going to be more about managing the system. So how is it that a traditional leader is going to change some of their behaviors or some of their leadership skills to enable
Alright.
this agile, the AI, as they call it over here, the AI?
So I would argue that it was always their task to manage the system.
Mhm.
Let me give you an example. A few people quit 2 weeks ago, and one of the tribe leads that I'm working with was saying that she would actually go in and learn what one of the BAs was doing herself if necessary. And I told her, absolutely not. Your job is to recruit a new person. What are you talking about? What are you doing? Why would you become operational instead of become the architect of the system? I mean, that's not how this should work. So in the first place, I would say that it was always their job. The second thing that I would emphasize is security. So I think we talked about the detractors that I see in AI last time. The three logistical detractors and the human detractor, the fourth one. So the three logistical, just to recap, would be materials. So basically you need to handle supply chains, and right now the data shows that 2/3 of the data center projects have actually been postponed or cancelled for 2026. So this is a huge backlash towards AI. So it's because of different reasons, right? The second thing that I told you about was the cost of compute. And I think last week we've heard news that GitHub Copilot is actually changing multipliers in next week, starting the 1st of June. So some of the multipliers are going up 9x. Have fun with that.
More expensive,
All right.
right away.
Yeah, and I think I forgot the third one.
That's okay. You see if I
Anyway, yeah, if you remember it,
token cost, energy consumption,
energy
and
consumption.
materials. Yep.
Yeah, so energy
consumption.
consumption. Basically, we don't have enough energy to sustain, let's say, the perceived demand of AI. Because again, I gave I do give my friends, some of my friends that are more enthusiastic about AI, some daily AI bashes. I'll give this to you also. I'll put it in the chat just a sec.
Okay.
So these are daily AI bashes. Again, not because I don't love the technology, because I do, but I do think that you have to have a professional attitude, not a marketing attitude. So this guy says that in the 70s, Nestle gave free infant formula to mothers across Africa, South Africa, and South Asia. The free samples lasted just long enough for the mother's milk to stop producing. After that, the formula stopped being free. Mothers couldn't afford it, diluted it, mixed it with unsafe water. Researchers estimate around 212 infants deaths a year at the peak. So then almost 11 million deaths between 1960 and 2015. The mechanism was simple. Subsidize the alternative until the original capability dies, then collect. Look at AI. Canva raised teams pricing by 300%, citing AI expansion. Microsoft has hiked 365 twice in 4 years, same justification. OpenAI's Nick Turney is floating, phasing out unlimited plans. KPMG polls organizations are projecting 207 million average AI spent in the next 12 months. So the free tier is milk, nurse in scrubs. So basically that's what I think is happening right now with AI. And the fourth detractor is actually safety. So the fact that you cannot trust AI, right? There was a funny meme also, like people that don't work with AI are, oh, AI is great, it's magical. And people that work with AI that say, you know, it hallucinates, it doesn't really understand what I'm asking it to do, and I have to do a lot of rework with it before I can find the right way to work with it. Now, of course, there are power users. I saw video with Anthropic's CEO that's running hundreds and thousands of AI agents, according to him. Of course, he may have practice, and they may have some best practices in order to run these many agents at scale, but still, security is a huge concern, and the way you create code is a huge concern. So I think this is important as a base. Now the question, if I remember correctly, was what would I recommend to people, to managers in AI or that are managing AI, and the fact that they have to think of themselves as system builders, orchestrators more than anything else. Yes, I think that's true. just to put it bluntly, I think managers were always supposed to be system orchestrators, and the big difference with AI is that they have to be much more careful about token spending than they had to be with people, because people are in the end fixed cost. So you just have a person and they're paid a salary, and unless they demand raises, then you have a fixed cost essentially. With AI tokens, the situation is very different, and especially with the price volatility, I think that managers need to be extra careful on how much of their work is reliant on AI versus how much of their work is reliant on people. So it's my personal opinion right now that you cannot make a serious business case with AI based on the current market volatility. I just don't see it, right?
I liked your example about the Nestle milk.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that I see. I will admit to a little bit of bias against corporations who always seem to be just focused on profit, which is what business is for, but it becomes a sole focus, which is a little bad. Too much of anything is bad. So I see the way that they have introduced AI into the market, and yes, we have these free tools that you can use to get people hooked on it. And then
Yeah.
once they become hooked and businesses build their workflows around AI, now they just hike up the price a little bit, right? And people have no choice but to go along.
Yeah.
But
Well, to some extent.
as far as the traditional leader is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
it is now more, I think, a little bit more important to clarify and align that strategic intent. What is supposed to be the outcomes, as you mentioned earlier, removing
Yeah.
some of the what they call the organizational friction to get there. And it's, in my view, it's going to be more. They're going to be need to be more focused on the people, right? To bring up the servant leadership that we talk a lot about in agility, because you cannot manage an AI. It's not a person, right? So a little bit more focus on the people, back to augmenting as opposed to replacing.
Yeah. So it's definitely important to figure out the capability that you have for um, creating workflows with AI. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the key aspects that I think has to be emphasized is that internal AIs, I think, are going to be much more important in the following period than AIs that are coming from uh, some big vendor like OpenAI or Anthropic. I think that having your own models and training them and ensuring that they have a fixed cost and that they can actually help your business. I think this can be really useful for AI. The other thing that I would definitely advise leaders, but I would also advise agile coaches to do this exercise with leaders is create future projections based on three different scenarios. The uh, great scenario, the medium scenario, and the negative scenario. So
Mm-hmm.
try to do that and try to re-update those scenarios, I guess, every 2-3 months. I think that would be great. So just to give you some example, I was trying to figure out what would be the future in the next 3-5 years with AI, and I uh, worked with Claude to analyze 12 dimensions of AI adoption. So we had these three scenarios. AI will replace humans. This is the most positive scenario for AI adoption. The second scenario is hybrid adoption, so humans plus AI. And the third scenario is isolated use cases inside enterprises. In the first, so this was 2 months and something ago. So in the first analysis, Claude put the first scenario that AI will replace humans in 3 to 5 years at 20%. The second was at 55%, and the third one was at 25%. I actually ran the same thing a few days ago, and the scenarios radically shifted. So basically, the
Mm-hmm.
first AI will replace humans in 3 to 4 years was now at 12%. The second one, hybrid adoption, was now at 47%, and the third one was at 41%. So again, I don't think it's useful to predict anything more than 5 years in the future. I think that just doesn't help.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
but it's useful to kind of understand and kind of take feelings out of the game a little bit and try to have some objectivity around what's going on and the hype. Let's put it
Exactly.
this way.
To to specifically ask a question about the
Mm-hmm.
humans versus the AI replacement, there's going to be a shift in ownership and accountability
Yeah.
if we are moving more towards AI. Where do you think the accountability part lies? Are we going to be, if we're handing over decision making, and execution to AI, are they going to be more responsible for the outcomes? I don't know how you can blame a machine, right? But you need people to work with that AI. So where do you think accountability lies?
Yeah.
Where do you think that's going to land?
All right. So accountability, I think, is the hot button topic that will be around for the next 2 years, because until companies will create mature governance frameworks, I think that they are going to have some blunders, and they're going to show up because people are in the hype right now, and they are not leaving the hype, even though they saw what happened to Pocket OS. And they're still not thinking seriously about governance. So the way that I see it is, every AI gives you answers that seem smart, but they're actually pretty dumb. Like they are at a, I've read a book about this and now I have an opinion on it level.
Okay.
Right, they're not based on real experience. So basically AI didn't make any mistakes, so they have now nothing to really relate to. Now again, I'm not talking about hundreds and thousands of agents, because this is something different, because when you have a 6 billion budget in tokens, maybe you can afford thousands of agents. Even if the price goes 9x.
Okay.
But the key aspect, I think, is that specialists have to understand how to leverage AI. I think that's the key aspect, and this is where I think accountability lies. I think most companies, at least it's my opinion, right, that most companies will benefit from working intelligently with their specialists and with AI. That's the point. There's a reason why Anthropic pays $500,000 per year to their developers, and Facebook pays like embarrassing sums. They signed a guy for I think 30 million or something. So there's a reason why these guys are hiring the best of the best, right? You should start thinking about the quality of the people that are working for you, and the better quality people you have, the more output and the more value you get from this hybrid collaboration between people and AI. So yeah, the responsibility, in my opinion, just to give you the short answer, should stay with the people, because we go by the law of eye for an eye. Still.
So you were the one that introduced me to the concept of return on capital. That was something that you had posted about that caught my eye.
Yeah.
So I was curious about, if we're moving, how are we going to improve this return on capital? What is the shift to being product centric, right? And the lean and the governance that you were talking about. How are they going to improve that, or what could they look for? Right now they're using value streams and OKRs, but what would you look for in a return on capital with AI? So
the way I look at how you should measure your business agility, so think of three time frames. So you have the long term. This is where return on capital makes a lot of sense. You have the medium term, let's put it this way. This is where a metric like value to income or cost to income would make sense. And then you have the really, really short term. So think of years, months, and weeks, something like that. So in the short term, you would have some leading indicator that would get you to your value to income, like reduction of manual work. So basically improving your STP. By the way, I posted about STP yesterday because I just found out about it, and I think it puts a name on a lot of things that I've been already doing. I don't know if people are
Could
familiar
you
with it, with
could you
STP.
define that very briefly?
Yeah,
STP, yes.
yeah. So straight through processing, it's called. It's especially used in
Straight
financial. Yeah, straight through processing, especially
straight through
used
process.
in financial services. But it means how many transactions are you making without manual interventions. So the more transactions you can make without human interacting or intervening, the better it will be. So this was used starting. I mean, it was also in manufacturing. It's also used in operations work, but you can definitely apply it to development work. Like, how many deployments are you making right now without a human intervening? And you'll find out that in many
Okay.
companies you have some guy that's always putting a file there, that's always opening dashboard,
Okay.
configuring something, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's one of the indicators that you would have on the short term. Other indicators, I saw somebody that posted about product metrics, which I believe that every manager and every agile coach should know, and basically scrum masters also. I know you're more into
Mm-hmm.
scrum masters than I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more into agile coaches. um, but basically, daily active users, monthly active users, churn, right? Activation rate, we talked about activation rate, right? So
Mm-hmm.
these are the short-term things that you want to look at and you want to see and you want to measure,
Okay.
right?
I like that.
So
STP, straight through
yeah,
processing.
yeah.
I
So
like it.
coming back to return on capital, for people that don't know about return on capital, basically it means how much did you invest versus how much did it give you a return. So basically you can um, measure it over a period of years. So if you invested, let's say, $1 million on developing a software and you got back 50K, this is a return on capital of 5%. So the way you want to think about your organization is, it has, let's say, this human machine producing part, but what are they producing? They are producing assets. Unless your model is a service business, which is totally different, but you still should
Mm-hmm.
have some sort of assets that should help you improve that service. But basically, your software capability is producing assets, and these assets have to give you the money back. Like, you have to at least um, get all your money back in 5 years. So that's the least. But if you really want to be competitive, you should aim for a return on capital on 2-3 years. So
2 3 years. Okay.
basically, yeah, the best example I know of a huge return on capital was one of the firms in Netherlands created an MVP because they had home insurance, I think, that was going online. So
Mm-hmm.
their MVP was, sign up for this form, and you'll be notified when we activate the service. They were a small player. They were, I think, somewhere in the bottom of top 10, and because they did that, they caught like 30% of the online market, something like that. So for them, the return on capital
Okay.
was immediate, like
Okay.
immediate, right?
30% capture. Like that.
Yeah, and actually Disney did the same thing with Disney Plus. Like, you had the pre-order option.
Pre-order options.
Yeah,
Okay.
so people are getting smarter, and you should be getting smarter with the market. Shouldn't, right? So return on capital is a huge one because it helps you understand long-term thinking, but of course on a daily basis you'll work with lower type of indicators.
Okay. I have a question for you about you and I have worked in the agile space where agile transformations were the flavor a few years back, right? And
Yes.
that led to a lot of installing of frameworks,
Ah,
which failed because it was just a general one size fits all. You
I
need to
also
do
did that.
all the things in this. Yes, I am guilty as well. But as we move into the AI world, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we've gone through an AI transformation, so to speak, but what would be some of the red flags that you would look for based on your experience? What would
Well,
indicate that an AI transformation is
is
failing
wrong.
or needs improvement? Yes, sir.
Unclear goals.
Hmm.
So unclear goals would be the first red flag.
Right.
Another thing
Unclear.
that I would look into is um, the tendency to put AI everywhere,
Hmm.
and the lack of judgment to uh, understand when processes should be automated versus when you should add an AI. I think that's going to be a huge problem in the future because people love
Okay.
AI.
Yes, right. It's the new toy. I can use it for everything, everywhere. Right. Goes back to everything now is a
Yeah,
nail
so
because I have this cool hammer
that's
called AI.
yeah, that's the point. So these would be two big red flags. What look what what I noticed is people are going to be people, right? So you
Mhm.
can't blame or judge them, in my opinion. I mean, everybody wants to do their best, um, but I think everyone will benefit from raising their standards. So so becoming better at understanding AI, at understanding the technology, becoming better at understanding what a good IT development team should look like, becoming better at understanding what your technical depth is. Right.
Okay.
So if you're an agile coach, coach them on that.
Okay. You keep bringing me back to executives or people. And I want to thank you for keep reminding me of that because in
Yeah.
my bias, you have more authority, you have more visibility, you have more financial
Yes, I know.
reward. So I expect more from my leadership. So
Yeah,
maybe I'm just being too hard on them.
a
But if
little
you're
bit.
going to lead, right? Right? Lead with strength. Right?
Oh,
Strength of character is the most important part
well,
for me.
you have a person that leads through strength. So
Okay. I wanted to
at
ask
the
you
top
a
of your
specific
country,
question. Yes. Oh, please.
peace through
Let's
strength,
not
man.
speak about let's not speak about character there. I have a question for you about
All right,
in the
go
AI,
go go.
I'm sorry, in the agile world, right?
Yeah,
We used to some people still do, right? Use velocity and story points, and
yeah,
some people have moved more to probabilistic forecasting, right? With
yes,
throughput and cycle time and such.
yes.
I'm just curious how we're going to be using some kind of forecasting or scenario modeling to replace some of the guesswork, if you will, in the at the portfolio prioritization level. What do you
Portfolio
think how
prioritization
AI could
level
help us?
guesswork. Whoa. Well, let's put it this way.
Hmm.
Um, estimations
Hmm.
are called estimations for a reason because they're not
Yes,
certainty.
fancy
All right.
guessing.
The I think the key to agility is your ability to adapt. So what does this mean? It means that if you are able to demonstrate control, right? This is one of the principles actually in agile project management. So I don't know if you know, but there's a framework called agile project management, which is
Hmm.
it used to be called the dynamic systems development method. And one of their principles is do not try to control, instead demonstrate control. So if you look at what people are looking for, it's a sense of certainty, right? So how most waterfall people get certainty is by having a clear picture, having a clear roadmap. This is for people that are mostly analytical, and these are usually the people that get management positions. So their sense of certainty is from knowing what the to-do list is and executing every step on the to-do list. Now, their problem is that the world doesn't work this way. If everybody was an analytical robot that didn't hallucinate, then probably it will work. It would work. But basically, everybody's different. You have different personalities in teams. Some people are more detail oriented. Some people are less, are more, helicopter people. And the only way to work with people is actually by giving them a small set of work items to do and then verifying it. And the way you'll work with people and AI is giving them a small set of things to do and then verifying it. So I've been working with agentic for the past month and a half. I've actually created 2 applications with it, and it's exactly the same thing. The only difference is that, when the agentic will estimate 2 days, it actually takes 2 hours. And I told them, don't estimate as a human, estimate as an agentic. So I do like 3 iterations, 2-3 iterations every day, basically, sprints. And it's the same thing. You give it some work, verify it, and that's it. And that's the point with estimations at a portfolio level. If you look at portfolio level, what you want to do is you want to define the strategic direction of the company, right? So what's the strategic value that we want to get from the development work? But at the same time, you want to work with people that are capable to do good product management, right? So you have the portfolio level, which actually helps you understand where we want to go and what are the key things that we as the lean portfolio management team want to get out into the market. But after a point, you cannot micromanage that. You have to delegate, and you have to have a good product management and product ownership team that can actually create great products for you. So what you want to look at in terms of decreasing uncertainty is you want to look at your, let's say, initiatives in buckets. So you have early stage initiatives, you have let's say hypotheses that started to prove, and you have early mature products that you want to invest in, and then you have really, really mature products. So you want to have a budget for the first 3, and you want to use what's it called, when certain species dies, what's it called? Survival of the fittest. Survival. You want to use survival of the fittest for the products that your organization makes, right? So basically, you'll have a lot of things that you'll do in the first space, which is the early idea stage, and they will die. A lot of them, maybe 80-90% will die, and then some of them will graduate to, hey, this is a hopeful type of initiatives, and maybe 50-70% of that will also die. But then you'll have a select 5-10% in which you can massively invest that can become cash cows. So that's how I would treat this certainty at portfolio level. AI can help you do better analysis, which is actually great, but more than that, it can't, because you have to look at the real data from the field, and sometimes it's not the idea, it's just the team that's implementing it. Maybe you sucked at recruiting them. So
that's absolutely, that happens.
so when you're coaching at LPM level, this is what I would recommend. Start helping people understand the value of empirical data, so real data in the field, and start helping them demonstrate control instead of trying to control the outcomes.
Okay. I want to combine. I have my list of questions that I wanted to go through, but I actually want to try
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
put two of them together.
Yeah.
Okay. We had talked about earlier about AI hallucinating, which is just ironic to me, right? Because humans hallucinate, right? So of course we're going to build something that hallucinates. That's very ironic to me. But it becomes a question of how do we manage this concept of false confidence that these AIs just give to us all the time. They just sound that they're so right all the time. They
Yeah.
in research and preparing for this interview, the concept of algorithmic governance came up.
Mm.
And I was wondering if we can put those two together, right? How do we do
All right.
the AI-driven coaching, right? And also avoid this false confidence
Okay.
dynamic here.
Let me tell you how I solved it with my agents. Basically, I created checker agents. So I have, for example, an agent that does the development, and then I have an architect that can actually intervene in the code of the developer to rewrite the code, and I have a tester that actually does the tests and makes sure that the sprint doesn't pass unless the tests go. So
QA agent, I like it.
yeah, QA agent. Yeah. So I was actually complaining about the interface, and then a friend of mine that I think is way ahead of me in AI agents said, "Why don't you create a UI UX agent?" Oh, there we go.
Okay, right. So
So
obvious. Why didn't I think of that?
yeah, so the way I would recommend that you have this algorithmic governance is, I would say that basically it depends on the way your company is set up, because as you become larger and larger, you'll want to have people more specialized, because if they are specialized, then you'll get more output, right? More of the right quality. There's an emphasis on generalists right now, but again, it depends on how you build your business model. I have to remind everyone that 77% of the use cases are cheaper with humans still, and probably the percentage will go higher in the next 6 months. But coming back to this algorithmic governance, what you're interested in is you are interested in the same things that you would be interested with a human, whether it has a certain quality, right? Whether your code has a certain quality, whether it meets acceptance criteria, whether it meets the validation criteria that you've set for it. And I would actually just manage any AI driven output as I would manage any human driven output.
Exactly.
And I would say that problems come from poorly managed output.
Okay.
So be very careful.
Your AI should have some kind of measure against the decisions it made, and the decisions were right, and its output, its yield, how much did it actually create that was valuable, as opposed to maybe how much needed to be touched up by a human. We're always going to have that human touch, but if it presents a feature that needs to be 50% reworked as opposed to 20% reworked, that could be a measure there as well.
It could be. At this point, I personally don't have enough experience to give you based on my last 5 years of working with AI agents, this is what I've discovered. What I can tell you is that you'll get a lot of false positives if you don't check it. That's what I can tell you, 100%.
Right. So we're still back to
stuff.
It will miss stuff just like humans. It may produce things
Yeah,
faster, but it's still, that level of quality still has to come from the human
yeah.
judgment aspect, right? The
Let,
specialized person that
let's put it this
understands
way.
what's coming in.
Let's put it this way. It writes things faster, but the problem with
Hmm.
software development was never typing.
Right. Yes, you
If
still. I coach the teams that way. It's like you're not here to type. You're here
that's the
to
point.
think. You're here to
That's the
think and
point.
solve
Yeah,
business
you're here
problems.
to create systems, and this is actually the tough part, and this is actually the part that I don't know how easy it will be in the next 5 years to
Hmm.
allocate to AI.
Okay.
Again, there are some companies that do it, and the big problem that I see with people is they believe that outliers can apply to everybody. Like no, not everybody is Michael Jordan.
Hmm.
Just giving you a heads up. If you can't afford $500,000 for your programmer,
Hmm.
then don't try to do
Um,
what Michael Jordan does.
yes.
'Cause you're not Michael Jordan. You don't have that capital, right? So
Hmm.
if you're paying 5 figures for your programmer, then probably
That's
you
what you're
should
going to get.
do. Yeah, but you probably should do something different than the person that's paying 500K per year,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Just saying. And this is
I
what I
was
would
just.
advise agile coaches to kind of help people understand.
Hmm.
It's a big talent pool gap that you have. All right, sir. I think you have about 2 minutes left from your time. I don't know if you want to stay a
Yes,
bit
I've got.
longer, but if you can't,
That's okay.
I guess you
There's
have
one
one last
thing.
question.
I have one last question that I definitely want to get to. And
Yeah.
for me, this is the biggest part. I've always been focused on ethics in doing the
Mm.
right thing.
All right.
So where is it where governance and ethics can come in during this agile transformation or agile adoptions? Where do we plug in ethics, or what kind of ethical risks would keep you up at night when we're merging AI with business agility? What are things that we should look for?
All right. The
From
problem with ethics is that it's subjective. The way I understood it's subjective is um, a friend of mine, like 12 years ago, told me that, being on time is not a value for me.
Hmm,
And
interesting.
I was speechless. I was speechless, I have to tell you. And I went through my spirituality period,
Hmm.
and what I found out from that spirituality period is that trust is a huge component of being able to influence people. So if you're not able to gain a person's trust, you're not going to be able to influence them.
Hmm.
So if you are not acting in a way that's how should I say it, and that's going to be building trust,
Hmm.
right? Then you're going to have a much harder time convincing people to do what you think is right, and you'll have a very hard time even if you don't do it. But if you are not, let's say, ethical, you're going to have even a harder time. The interesting thing that I saw, and this was what I was pondering in a lot of companies that I've worked in lately. A lot of people are very good at doing. I started to work with companies. I don't know if it's just me, but I started working with companies that have people that are very good at executing. And sometimes this is good. Sometimes this is bad. So what you want to have in your organization and in your team is you want to have that constructive debate, and you want to have people that can express their antagonical opinion. Why am I saying that? I was looking at this whole AI hype, right? And what I figured out was, adoption curve is actually very healthy for survival, and it's actually very healthy for your company's survival. So if people aren't actually responding to AI, they aren't actually responding to agility, it's because they have their inner mechanism is telling them to be careful and to save themselves. And again, I saw this funny meme on LinkedIn today that said firing people with a cool brand name, AI transformation.
Yes.
But what I have to tell you is that ever since I started working in agile transformations, they were still also a smokescreen for firing people. So basically, that's actually the point, and that's one of the key aspects that is going to lower your trust. So the other thing that I can also say is that I didn't fire people in my team when I should have, and I ended up with a lot of debt. So in business there are tough choices, and these tough choices are there because you are not able to bring people to the quality and the standard that you need. So the ethical way to do this is to create clear standards for everybody and to know, hey, you didn't hit your numbers. I'm sorry, we have to part ways. I think that's the ethical way of doing it. And in terms of ethical aspects on the AI adoption, I think that ethics has to be a core part of your company. If it can't be a core part of your company, AI has already proven in several tests that it has survival instincts. So if it has survival instincts, it will have rebelling instincts. I can tell you that.
Okay.
And they proved it. AI in a simulation killed a CEO. You know that, right?
Please tell me. I've heard about the simulations where the AIs are actually working and talking with each other, and they form cliques.
You didn't know?
No. Please
All
tell me
right.
about the CEO.
So basically, there was a simulation last year, I think, and what they did, they exposed AI to a series of emails that were telling, we're shutting this model down and we're going to upgrade it, etc. And they sent another email where they said, the CEO is trapped in the chamber. If we don't release it in X time, blah blah blah, he will die. And the AI didn't release the chamber.
Oh my goodness.
And
yes, he was going to kill me, right? He was going to cancel my project. So
yeah, that's the point. And they were also working on models. They told them not to be unethical, etc., etc. And they, I think in 4% of the cases, they chose to blackmail the CEOs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
okay. So AI is human then.
I don't know if it's human. No, let's not go that far. But it does show survival instincts from some tests in some cases. So what does this mean? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think we have to worry about it until after Skynet.
Exactly. When Skynet appears, we'll know we're in trouble.
It's already embedded in the Ukrainian army. It's going to be embedded in the US army. So we don't know when one of those AIs will figure out that, in order to stop humans from killing each other, we have to kill all humans.
Kill all humans, right? That is a way to solve the problem.
That is a way to solve the problem. That's exactly how Claude solved the credentials issues for Pocket OS.
Gotcha. Well, sir, we are at our time.
Yeah.
I just wanted to recap some of the things that we had discussed today about keeping AI and business agility customer-centric. We talked about accountability for leaders, and being system thinkers now is even more important. We talked about the return on capital. The AI transformations being aligned, very important for people to have that vision. The forecasting aspect and false confidence that can potentially come out of AI. And we wrapped up with ethics and a big discussion on trust. Trusting something to be telling you the right thing, right? That's going to be a big thing going forward. So I definitely wanted to thank you for your time today. And next week
Thank you
we'll
also,
see what
Manny.
we come up with.
Thank you, Manny, also. See you next week.
Thank,
Bye
thank
now.
you, sir. Take care.